In one of the coldest places on Earth, where silence is louder than sound and survival depends on staying together, a single penguin was seen walking away. No rush, no fear, no visible reason, just one small figure moving slowly toward the frozen mountains of ice. The footage would later travel across the world, often labeled as a penguin walking toward the Arctic in 1970. But the real story is deeper than a location. This is not a story about geography. This is a story about choice. Let's first understand the place. Penguins do not live in the Arctic. They live in Antarctica, the southernmost continent on Earth, a land of endless ice, violent winds, and temperatures that can freeze exposed skin in minutes. Life here is not individual. Penguins survive by community. They huddle together to share warmth. They travel together to avoid predators. They depend on each other for survival. So when one penguin walks alone, it immediately raises a question. The video is short, grainy, silent, likely recorded decades ago by researchers or explorers sometime in the mid-20th century. There is no dramatic moment, no collapse, no chase, no visible injury. The penguin simply turns away from the group and begins walking toward the ice mountains, step by step, into emptiness. What makes this moment powerful is not what happens, but what doesn't happen. No one stops it. No one follows. And the penguin never looks back. Scientists who study penguin behavior say this kind of action, while rare, does happen. One possible reason is illness. When a penguin becomes severely sick or injured, it may instinctively separate itself from the colony, not out of confusion, but to avoid slowing others down. Another explanation is age. Older penguins, nearing the end of their physical strength, sometimes leave the group. There is also disorientation, caused by exhaustion, storms, or changes in the magnetic field. But there is one explanation that science acknowledges quietly: emotional stress and grief. Penguins are not simple creatures. They recognize mates by voice. They form long-term bonds. They mourn lost partners. When a mate dies or fails to return from the sea, some penguins call out for days. Others grow silent, and in rare cases, they walk away. Not in panic, not in confusion, but with calm acceptance. The penguin in this footage shows no signs of distress, only movement. The ice mountains ahead are not just ice, they are higher ground, colder, more isolated. To scientists, this may simply be terrain, but to humans watching decades later, it feels symbolic, a final climb, a quiet ending. Not dramatic, not tragic, just honest. Nature does not fear endings. It does not explain them either. It simply continues. We are taught that loneliness is weakness, but nature shows us something different. Sometimes loneliness is not escape, it is acceptance. Not every departure is failure. Not every ending is defeat. Some journeys are meant to be walked alone, and choosing solitude can be an act of dignity. That penguin didn't fight the cold, didn't make noise, didn't seek attention. It walked. Real strength is often quiet. It doesn't announce itself. It doesn't ask to be seen. It simply keeps moving, just like people who carry silent struggles and still go on. This clip keeps resurfacing online because people recognize themselves in it. The moment when you step away from the crowd, when life doesn't go as planned, when you don't know what's ahead, but you walk anyway. Nature doesn't judge these moments, it reflects them. That penguin eventually disappeared into the ice, but its story stayed. Not as a mystery of the Arctic, but as a reminder from Antarctica. Even in the coldest places on Earth, there is meaning, and even in solitude, there can be peace. But the story of this penguin doesn't really end at facts or memes. In many ways, this is where it truly begins. Because when humans saw that penguin walking alone toward the mountains, They didn't just see an animal, they saw themselves. In a world where everyone is expected to follow the same path, same education, same job race, same definitions of success, that penguin felt like the one who stopped, looked ahead, and chose a different direction. Not because it was easier, not because it was safer, but because something inside it pulled it forward. Imagine the scene again. No dramatic music, no captions, just the sound of wind and footsteps on ice. Antarctica is one of the quietest places on Earth. No cities, no crowds, no opinions. And in that silence, the penguin walks on. Scientists watching the footage later said something chilling, that once such a penguin starts walking inland, it almost never turns back. Not when called, not when guided, not even when placed back near the colony. It turns around and walks toward the mountains again, as if its decision was already made. From a scientific point of view, this behavior may be tragic, a misfiring instinct, a biological error. But from a human point of view, it feels deeply meaningful, because humans also make choices that don't always make sense to others. Leaving a stable job, walking away from relationships, choosing loneliness over noise, peace over approval. And when people saw this penguin, they thought, what if it's not lost? What if it's just done? This is why the clip exploded online decades after it was filmed. Not because it was cute, not because it was funny, but because it was uncomfortable. It forced people to sit with a question they often avoid. What happens when you stop following the crowd? The penguin doesn't look back. It doesn't hesitate. It doesn't explain itself. It just keeps walking. And maybe that's why it became a symbol of burnout, existential exhaustion, quiet rebellion, and the courage to choose your own path. Now here's the honest part. In reality, a penguin walking inland is unlikely to survive. The mountains don't offer food, they don't offer shelter, they don't offer a way back. Nature is cruel when instincts fail. But humans don't watch this video for a survival lesson. They watch it for a life lesson. Because unlike penguins, humans can rethink, return, adapt, and redefine their journey. So when you see that penguin walking alone into the white unknown, don't just ask, why is it doing that? Ask, what part of me feels like that right now? Because sometimes the loneliest journeys are not about reaching the mountains. They're about escaping the noise behind you. And whether that penguin was lost, broken, or simply following a different instinct, it unknowingly left behind something powerful. A reminder that every once in a while, even in the coldest places on Earth, a single step in a different direction can echo across the world. At the end of the video, I just want to say that against the silence of Antarctica, one small figure keeps walking, reminding us that even in the coldest places, stories are born from solitude. Please do like the video and don't forget to subscribe.